locals telling you?
Well, Peach County is absolutely bellwether county. You're right, Laura. This is territory, probably the best bellwether county that exists in Georgia. What we see here is they've voted with the majority every year since 1992, backing Al Gore. But even then, it was only by 15 ballots, which shows just how much it can come down to the wire here. We've picked Fort Valley in particular because it's an interesting demographic size. Around 10,000 people live here, but also it has a very high percentage of African-American voters, around 7,000. So this is really key territory to gauge some pretty important issues and how they're influencing people's votes. We've spoken to quite a few people today. Overwhelmingly, the African-American voters are voting Democrat, and they are actually turning out too, because they have traditionally been the demographic that doesn't turn out in the same numbers that other ones do. What we've seen is it's been pretty split down the middle, though, once you start to add in the Caucasian voters. You're a Democrat, but you don't think you're in the majority here?
I do not in Georgia as a whole, at least.
Why do you say that?
It tends to go Republican. There's a lot of talk that it's turning purple, but I've yet to see it in my lifetime, at least.
How are you feeling about the election?
I think it's going to go Trump's way.
Why do you say that?
You can believe the polls if you want to, but if you just look at the crowd's reaction and the response he's getting, I think it's one-sided.
Why do you like Donald Trump?
You necessarily got to like the person. You just got to like that he's not a politician. Politicians have had their chance for so long. I think he's there for the common man.
And is there a particular policy that's really important to you this time around?
Oh, there's several. There's gun control, abortion, equal rights.
Now, Laura, one thing that's been really interesting to see is how much the COVID pandemic has been influencing people's votes. Georgia has been hit quite hard when you look at it in the context of the rest of the country. The governor here also held off having a mask mandate for a very long time, really coming to the table at the last minute with that under immense pressure. What we're seeing so far on the campaign, especially over the few months I've been here, is whether people have been directly impacted by COVID-19 has a much greater influence on whether they're going to vote on that basis. And if they haven't been directly impacted, it really doesn't factor into their decision making. And so far I'm finding, especially here in Peach County, plenty of people do have that first-hand experience. Do you know anyone that's been impacted by coronavirus?
Few scares within the family, nothing confirmed. A few people that I know, not close people, but people that I know, yes, I have.
Do you think that's influenced your vote at all?
Not really at all. I mean, the virus itself is a self-entity and has nothing really to do with the politics. And that's just, again, my opinion. I think there could have been done more about it, but it was a lot of, how can I put this, misinformation on it. And people just didn't know which way to go.
My grandmother-in-law, almost 70 years old, got COVID, and because of some complications of COVID, she had to have all kinds of surgeries, didn't eat for 4 or 5 months, just terrible. But praise God, she's alive and well. I have a buddy of mine, Jeremy Hoggebrook. He's in the hospital right now with COVID. I have a cousin that died from COVID. You know, it's everywhere. You think that it's not that close? It shouldn't take for it to get that close to home before it hurt. If somebody died, period, one person died, period, that's something that, you know, so that's where Trump through, you know, as far as my vote, it's through.
Laura, the other really interesting thing that I've found with African-American voters here, and pretty consistently found over the last few months in the US, is Kamala Harris isn't swaying any of their votes. If they are in favour of her at all, it's certainly secondary to Joe Biden, and plenty do have issues with her history as a prosecutor and her history of prosecuting, in particular, young African-American men. What she does do is rate very well with suburban Caucasian women, which is one of the key demographics that both sides are fighting over this election.